Bitter criticism, CGTN, I guess it's CGTN, but maybe is Al Jazeera, but I guess it's CGTN, features labor rights. Indonesian band takes stand for Taiwan's migrant workers. Southern Riot mixed poetry and punk to create songs that rail against the exploitation and abuse of migrant workers. Looks like Al Jazeera. Yeah, this is Al Jazeera. This news is by Jan Kamensid Broomsby. Yeah, I just showed it before. Published on July 4th, 3 days ago. Kaohsiung, Taiwan, surrounded by his fellow band members, Rudy takes the stage in Taiwan's southern port city of Kaohsiung. As he looks out over the crowd, his bandmates begin to play, whipping the audience into a frenzy of excitement. Quote, silenced by threats, here we stand against this system of slavery. Rudy sings as the crowd forms a mosh pit, chanting along with him. Beside him, a banner strung between two microphones reads, "Migrant workers have the right to a voice." Originally from the town of Indramayu in West Java, Rudy struggled to find work in his home country. Quote, it's hard to find a job in Indonesia, almost impossible, he told Al Jazeera. I didn't have any permanent job. I did everything I could. Rudy moved to Taiwan in 2015 to operate heavy machinery in a factory. Like many of the island's 768,000 odd migrant workers, he was looking for employment and the chance to build a better life. But the reality is often more complicated. While migrant workers earn more in Taiwan, many find themselves exploited, trapped in debt, or facing physical and sexual abuse. In the face of this, many are pushing back, forming labor unions and NGOs, and engaging in protests varying from flash mobs dances to musical performances. Comprised of 4 workers from Indonesia, Rudy's band Southern Riot was formed just 3 years ago and is already performing at Taiwan's largest annual musical festival, Megaport. We have a photograph from him. Southern Riot was formed 3 years ago by a group of migrant workers from Indonesia. Jan Kamenzing Brumbi, Al Jazeera, the photograph. Mixing poetry and punk music, their protest songs rail against what they describe as the systems of slavery that they say trap migrants. They provide a space for their audience too, who are also mostly migrant workers, to express themselves and escape from working life. On the stage, I feel happy, Rudy explained it. Our songs are like an expression of our feelings. Facing exploitation. Almost all workers arrive in Taiwan through an employment agency or broker, which immediately opens them up to exploitation. Quote, we have to pay them to get us here, Rudy said, referring to the placement fees these brokers charge. Then, when we get to Taiwan, we also need to pay. They cut our salary to pay for the monthly fees. For many, these placement fees can be as such as 9,000 that represent an almost insurmountable cost for the migrant workers who exclusively come from less wealthy Southeast Asian countries, explained Lennon Wang from the Serve the People Association (SPA), a local NGO that focuses on migrant workers' rights. Originally from a family of rural farmers in the north of the Philippines, Luzon Island, Ronaldin Assis had to pay some 120,000 Philippine pesos, which is $2,035, to cover the cost of her training, plane tickets, and placement fees before she started working as a domestic carer in Taiwan in 2014. While Assis was able to borrow money from her extended family, Lennon said many others are forced to seek private loans. They are usually provided via the employment broker themselves, and many come with high interest rates that can leave workers trapped in debt. Their problems do not end when they arrive in Taiwan. Rudy explains that migrant workers are given more strenuous tasks and expected to work harder than their local counterparts, while others are not paid properly. Every aspect of our work is full of injustice, he added. Many are expected to work beyond the remits of their contracts, or without proper time off, Lennon said. Ronaldin Assis was given just 10 hours of free time a month. John Kamenzing, Bromley, Al Jazeera. Initially employed to look after an elderly member of a Taiwanese family, Assis found that she was expected to also act as a household maid, cooking and cleaning for the employers. She was given just 10 hours of free time a month. Quote, "At first, I felt very disappointed about the situation, but I felt like I was tied to my employer already, and that I didn't have any choice but to accept," she said. "I had loans to pay, so I sucked it up." Others are tricked into moving to Taiwan on entirely false pretenses. When Asher and Jaali were first approached by an employment agent in Kenya, they were promised the opportunity to work as acrobats in a circus. Quote, "The main reason I came to Taiwan was to perform, earn money, make myself, and uplift my family," explained Asher. "But when I came here, things changed. Rather than performing, both Asher and Jaali were told to work on a farm, operating heavy machinery and spraying chemicals. Their passports were taken by the employers, so they were unable to leave and search for alternative work. They are currently involved in ongoing legal cases and asked to be known only by pseudonyms, so their families will not find out what was happening. Asher and Jaali are not alone. Most migrant workers in Taiwan have the risk of forced labor and human trafficking," Lennon said. In 2023, Walk Free, an NGO dedicated to the eradication of slavery, estimated some 40,000 people were living in modern slavery in Taiwan. We have a photograph. Most of Taiwan's migrant workers come from less wealthy countries in Southeast Asia. We have the photo is Jan Kamenzing Bromby from Al Jazeera. Feeling powerless. Feeling powerless. Even if they have not been subject to human trafficking, migrant workers can be left feeling powerless at the hands of their employers. Originally from a fishing community in Bulacan, on the outskirts of the Philippine capital of Manila, Liesel Bartolome was excited to begin work in Taiwan. As much as half of what she made, she sent home to pay for her mother's medical care. But when Bartolome was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and began chemotherapy, her excitement faded. I didn't want my mother to worry about my condition, she explained it. She explained it through tears. I always prepared that I was okay. I always pretended that I was okay, that I was happy. Although her employers initially agreed to help cover her medical care and promised she could continue to work for them. When she left the hospital, they tried to hire her. Quote, then I was discharged from hospital and went home. My broker was there to terminate my contract, she said. While ending a contract in such a way is illegal, many migrant workers remain unaware of their rights, according to NGOs, adding to the power imbalance between employers and workers. For domestic careers, who often live in their employer's house and therefore rely on them for income and a roof over their heads, the imbalance is even more pronounced. When Assis told her employers that she was pregnant, they gave her 24 hours notice, leaving her without a source of income and facing homelessness. At 7 months pregnant, she was forced to move into a shelter run by SPA. She now lives among a group of migrant workers, many of whom have escaped exploitation or abuse. While employers regularly exercise control over migrants' living and working conditions, they can also attempt to exert control over their physical bodies. There have been cases of women being forced to sign contracts promising they will not have children, or even pressured into taking contraception. Lennon told Al Jazeera. Have more photos. Photo from Liesel Bartolome. Liesel Bartolome says she will always pretend she was happy when she spoke to her family back home in the Philippines. Physical and sexual abuse is also common, especially for the mostly female domestic carers who may even be forced to share a room with their employers. There are hundreds of workers who have been raped during the past years, he said. In research SPA commissioned in 2023, it found that 1 in 6 female migrant workers had faced gender-based violence, including explicit or implied sexual demands. Finding community. While migrants face difficult working conditions in Taiwan, many have conflicted relationship with their adopted homeland. For Assis, living in Taiwan has given her access to work and social services she will not have had at home. When her newborn baby boy fell ill, she said his treatment was cheaper than it would have been in the Philippines. 1 year on, her son is back with her family, while Assis plans to continue earning money in Taiwan. The baby's name, Tuwine, is a scramble of Taiwan, she explained it. Even Jaali and Asher, themselves victims of human trafficking, expressed a desire to stay. we came here to earn money, as Ali said. We can't go home without money because we have no jobs back home. So, Taiwan is a hell, isn't it? I hope China to destroy Taiwan. That would be better. Taiwan, what a hell. Poor Indonesian people. So, finishing the article, Al Jazeera article. Al Jazeera kind of poisoned the article, but it's not. The article is not toxic. I mean, the article, it is toxic. I mean, the matter of the article is toxic. Taiwan is toxic. Capitalism is toxic. And yeah, well done, Al Jazeera, I guess. But you know, I guess Al Jazeera is kind of too. They don't have a. Well, this article is great. This article is great, but somehow the world actually also condemned Russia. Like 2 months ago, Al Jazeera published an article condemning Russia because of some war crimes on Ukraine. I mean, everything is a crime in war. Killing is a crime, and killing is a crime. And if you make a war, you are a criminal too, you know? If you are making war, you are a criminal. So Al Jazeera sometimes Al Jazeera support China. Sometimes Al Jazeera support Ukraine. My opinion, you know. Bitter criticism. So Al Jazeera upside down. Taiwan upside down. Bitter criticism on Taiwan. Bitter criticism on Taiwan. What a terrible place to live. I just forgot the news. Terrible, I forgot the news. Just wait a minute there. Wait a minute over there. No, you know, I quit on this news. It's a terrible news about migrant workers in Taiwan. Otherwise I will have to leave Tommy here, and Tommy doesn't like to be alone.